hop aboard an Island Packers boat for a walking tour of legendary Anacapa Island with Kathy DeWitt Olson, an Anacapa Island National Park naturalist guide. I'm your host, travel correspondent Tom Wilmer. Come along with us and discover Anacapa Island. This is your host, Tom Wilmer, reporting from Anacapa Island off the coast of California. Please join us as we visit with Kathy DeWitt Olson. Hi, Kathy, and your position is?
I'm a Channel Islands naturalist volunteer with the Naturalist Corps, Channel Islands National Park, and National Marine Sanctuary.
Awesome. Tell us about Anacapa and the Channel Islands in toto as a destination.
It's an amazing place. Perhaps just the fact that I volunteer to come out here illustrates that it certainly has many things that attract people who love open spaces and observing nature and just being out in the wilderness. And yet we're only today here at Anacapa Island, a mere 12 miles off the coast of California, Ventura, Oxnard area, where thousands of people reside.
Earlier, one of your compatriots, David, was talking about different islands for different people for different reasons.
Yes, I tend to enjoy the island that I'm on at the moment, but they definitely have different aspects that would either attract people who are adventurers, want to do a lot of hiking, maybe want to enjoy water sports. Here on Anacapa, we have a really small hiking system, but beautiful coastal views. So if you're not real energetic, but enjoy strolling along and enjoying nature and views off the rugged cliff sides, it's a great place to spend the day or even a weekend camping. Even more so if you enjoy a little bit of hiking, but have perhaps a kayak or like to jump in the water to go snorkeling or scuba diving. Anacapa has some of the clearest waters of all the islands that make up the Channel Islands National Park and Marine Sanctuary. Mostly it's a volcanic island environment, so there's very little runoff, very little siltation, and beautiful kelp forest and underwater environment. So if you're cruising on a kayak, the scenery is great. The wildlife with harbor seals and sea lions, fish, kelp forest, birds, as we have here on the top side as well, those all abound. And then if you get underwater, it's even more spectacular.
Yeah, we just saw a dive boat pull into a bay there, and quite a few critters on board there, huh?
Absolutely. And again, when they jump in that underwater environment and swim through the kelp forest that was surrounding the boat, instead of being in a forest with birds and squirrels and bears and things like that, they're going to see a wide variety of different fish species, little crabs and shrimp. If they're lucky, they'll have one of those harbor seals or sea lions swoop through as well. So it's like taking an underwater stroll, or more like an underwater flight.
The water clarity is pretty good here, huh?
Around Anacapa, it's quite nice. We're just coming out of the end of springtime, which sometimes we get some plankton blooms that bring our visibility down to around 20 or 30 feet or so. In the fall seasons, it sometimes reaches 80 to 100 foot of visibility, which is really spectacular for California waters.
Mm-hmm. And the temps, what's the water been? A little cold, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't get real warm out here. You could see those divers were all in wetsuits or dry suits. I'm going to have to take a guess because I didn't really look at the forecast this morning, but it's usually around the low to mid 50s this time of year, again, spring being the coolest time. And as the summer months come along, we'll warm up into the low 60s, but it doesn't get much above that out here at Anacapa.
Tell us about the process of getting out here. Let's say I'm in Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo and I want to come to the island. How do you plan and how far in advance?
Well, I'm not sure exactly all the costs from the two different operators that run boat transportation, but we have two official boat concessionaires. Out of Santa Barbara, it's Truth Aquatics, and out of Ventura and Oxnard, it's the Island Packers Company.
You can go directly from Santa Barbara.
It is possible. I don't think their schedule is as extensive as what Island Packers runs. Island Packers runs usually daily trips out to Anacapa or to Santa Cruz Island. And then there's a season for what we call the outer islands, which include Santa Rosa, San Miguel, and Santa Barbara Island. And that season is just getting underway. They started some trips out to Santa Rosa late in April, and these outer islands will be seeing visitors until the early fall, usually around October, and then the weather changes and getting to the islands that are more distant becomes a lot more adventurous than a lot of people are willing to undertake.
Are there any overnight facilities?
There are overnight facilities if you like camping on all the islands. Fairly primitive here on Anacapa, just a picnic table and a place to kind of put your food out and away from the gulls or the other critters that are out and about. On Santa Cruz and on Santa Rosa, they also have fresh water that's available. And you saw when you arrived here at Anacapa, you have to bring on all your own food and water. You do have to provision all your food at the other islands, but again, Santa Rosa and Santa Cruz do offer running water, which makes it a lot easier if you're going to stay for a full weekend.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good. Tell us about the flora and fauna right here on the island. Let's take a little walk.
Well, here on Anacapa, not as diverse, and typically as you go from the smaller islands like Anacapa Island and Santa Barbara, which are the two smallest, and out to the larger islands, as the islands get progressively larger, you have more diversity. Having said that, you can come out to these islands and see plants or even animals that exist nowhere else in the world. So even though you might not have as much as you might see on a forest or a park on the mainland, you may see unique species that you won't see anywhere else.
To explain to the listener about the gulls screaming in the background.
Now, this is one of my favorite times of the year out on Anacapa. The western gulls are here nesting, and we're here on Memorial Day weekend as we approach this weekend. And this is the time of year where we just start to get some of the chicks hatching. And so you hear the parents marking their territory vocally, telling us that we're a little close to their nest, and they're just trying to protect their little space so that their youngsters will have the best opportunity to grow up and to thrive.
Talk to us a little bit about the flora and the diversity of the different Channel Islands.
Out here on Anacapa, as I mentioned before, diversity of plant species is not as exotic as what you would see on some of the larger islands. Today we're walking kind of on a marine terrace. You don't see any trees around, but if you were able to get out onto West Anacapa with the environment changing, more slopes and canyons and whatnot, you would start to pick up some oaks and some island cherries and things that are a little bit different. And you get onto a big island like Santa Cruz and you have a huge diversity of different plant environments, oak woodlands, grass areas, pine forest, and all in a beautiful coastal habitat as well. On Santa Rosa Island, much like Santa Cruz, you have grasslands, oak woodlands, and pine forests, but you also have one of the most unique pine forests in the whole entire world, and that would be the Torrey Pines Forest. And that's a species of pine tree that's one of the rarest pines in the world, and it's isolated just on Santa Rosa Island with another subspecies on the mainland at Torrey Pines State Park down off of the San Diego coast.
And access to this island and the other islands, what's the best source for people to find out?
The Channel Islands National Park and the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary have some very in-depth websites, and then from those websites, not only you learn about each island, the unique plants and animals, you'll also learn about some of the restoration activities that they're doing and some of the education and outreach projects that take place not just on the islands but out in the schools and out on the mainland as well. So if you can't get to the islands, there's still an opportunity for you to sort of have a virtual visit by visiting some of the point of contact places on the mainland like the Channel Islands National Park Visitor Center. Also from those two websites, you can get access to the different concessionaires' websites, so you could find out about Island Packers trips, Truth Aquatics, or if you were going out to Santa Rosa, Channel Islands Aviation flies out to Santa Rosa year-round. And so from those two agency websites, you can get just about anything you need to find out about the islands or how to visit them.
What do you most love about the islands? What's closest to your heart?
Wow. I think just the fact that you can come out here, you don't need a phone or a car, or you don't get bothered by TV or any of the things that can be such a distraction on the mainland. It's a place to really get away and just reconnect with your inner rhythm and the rhythm of nature.
For somebody that's interested in kayaking around the island or islands, do they make arrangements on the mainland like in Oxnard or Santa Barbara again and go on a boat that brings you out? Or?
Yes, absolutely. If you have your own kayak and you're experienced, you can transport your own kayaks on the boat concessionaires for a little extra fee, just as you would if you were taking a surfboard on an airplane. You have to pay a little extra to get out here with that. Or you can link up ahead of time with one of the kayaking guide services. That way, if you don't have a kayak or are inexperienced, you can come out with professionals who kind of help show you around and assure that you have both a safe and enjoyable visit, because it is quite a rugged and wild water environment out here around the Channel Islands.
I'm your host, travel correspondent Tom Wilmer, reporting for National Public Radio affiliates KCBX and KCBX HD1 serving San Luis Obispo and KSBX serving Santa Barbara County.